Alright, we're gonna play some more Jeskai Murktide. I really like this deck, and I also want to play more of it today, because apparently there's a modern PTQ tomorrow afternoon. So, I'm not sure exactly what my plan is for that. I think I'll play in it. I think I'll play in it tomorrow afternoon. And I'm leaning towards this deck. There's a couple other decks I might play, I suppose. But I'm leaning towards this deck. And, I don't know if I should just do like the normal stream and then take like an hour break and then try to stream that afterwards. I mean, that's gonna end up being like a really long one if I don't scrub out. I might just play it off stream and do like Saturday's challenge. We'll see. What's the qualifier you mean for? I have no idea, dude. It's what people keep saying set championship, but I don't know what that is. So I'm gonna play my land first. Like, a lot of times people play around just like the dash Ragavan, and then they just lose to the counterspell. Although, I think my opponent's playing Rhinos. So they might just have an answer to the Ragavan into untap Cascade. Yeah, glad you liked the twin stream. It was really fun. I had a good time. Like, so Hinterland Harbor. I'm gonna fetch on their upkeep. So the championship is the same thing. Yeah, I mean, it's just called something else. Like, I think maybe I played in like one players tour and like one set championship. It's just so dumb that the one that they keep changing the name, and two that they don't just call it the Pro Tour. It's too early to rant about the Pro Tour, but man, they sure had like we're the only game with like a rich tournament series. Like this, so they just kind of threw it in the trash to be cool and hip. Yeah, but I imagine it's like roughly the same tournament. I missed in the stream. How did my version of the twin deck do? I went 5-0 with my version of the twin deck, and I left the stream under the impression. Oh, we're playing Reclamation. I left the stream under the impression that twin's probably like a little too good to unban at the moment, or at least I wouldn't feel very comfortable in banning it. The deck felt a little dangerous. Alright, I don't want to tap for Consider here and then get got by Archmage's Charm on my Monke. I ended up making a little bit of a tweet about it, which is basically just what I just said. Well, I'm going to draw two. Been saying that the entire time since it's been banned. Yeah, I was under the same impression for a long time that like Twin was too good to come off the ban list. But like my opinion I started to wonder after like cards like Solitude, Unholy Heat, Force Negation became so popular. But of course like Twin also gets a ton of upgrades, you know. Can the Twin ban card Gauntlet be a continuing thing with other streamers? Maybe. I don't want to you know, Caleb was the one that actually ended up DMing me first, and then Caleb asked me yesterday if I wanted to do the thing again with Pod, and I also really enjoyed doing it with Caleb, and of course I would like to get some other streamers, you know, involved maybe, but I just have to think about it. I also don't like, you know, collabs are fun, but you know, they just can't really be. Or at least I don't want them to be like the main focus or anything. But yeah, we and it's also like I want to do a pod one. Like testing Yawgmoth pod and Kiki Chord sounds really fun. I honestly don't know that there's another card I'd really want to test. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't just want to milk it for content. I think I'll fire it off an iteration. I wouldn't want to just milk it. And I'm kind of the opinion that like Pod would be interesting to test. There are potentially a handful of other cards that could be interesting too, but there's not that many cards that like I think that I'm like actually interested in testing. So I don't want to just milk it, and I also I don't think that the series can go on for that long. Like maybe there's one or two. I think I'm gonna let that go. Maybe there's one or two other cards that you could test, but like you could like there is also cards that are like pretty boring to test, right? Like Jitte is a super boring card to test, I think. where it's like really just going to be not that impactful. Jitte probably is fine to unban, but it's also like gameplay when you unban Jitte, I think probably suffers a lot. So I don't want Jitte unbanned because like I know that like if you're not playing a deck with like a lot of small creatures, you don't really care about Jitte, and then all of a sudden like you know you just make like tribal decks even worse than they already are. Which matchup where tear? Yeah, it's mostly Hammer Time, but you also want it against blue-white control to stop their like chalices and rest in pieces. Those are the main two. Preordained. Yeah, Preordained is another card that I think is like a little bit boring to test. Because like its effects on the game are like pretty innocuous, I guess would be the word I'd use. Like it's you know, Preordained is, you know, one of the best cantrips to ever be printed, but it's still, like, just a cantrip, you know? I mean, I guess I'm gonna draw 2 again. Get to keep the counterspell up. How about looting? Yeah, so, like, the thing about looting is, like one... looting, like, immediately would be one of the best cards in the format. Like, defining it as broken is a little bit difficult, but it's, like... Looting, there's just like way too many decks for looting, and like the thing is, it's just like such an efficient enabler. They're like, it just goes in so many decks. Where like Twin and Pod are easier to test because they are like much more narrow cards. At least these are my, you know, spicy takes, right? Maybe my lukewarm takes. I'll play 1 ending, 2 bolts. Could play a second ending on the draw for Ridden 6. Submit this. Green Sun Zenith and Dark Depths. Yeah, the thing about the thing about Green Sun Zenith is like, you know, I will say this. It's like, so I went into the Twin stream yesterday under the impression that I thought Twin was actually going to be kind of mediocre. Maybe it would win more matches than it lost, or maybe not. But I thought it would be kind of mediocre in like this gauntlet with Solitude, Force of Negation, the main deck Needle from Hammer Time. Eric with Deck Tech. If you can post the link in chat, we'll take a look. I thought it'd be somewhat mediocre, but like I swept with my version, and like I really didn't feel like the gameplay was very good either. From Caleb's side, I loved playing with it, of course, but I feel like gameplay as a whole would not improve with a Twin unban. But but cards like Pod, I've talked about this. Like I think Yawgmoth is already one of the best decks in the format, and like very quietly one of the best decks in the format that people like still are sleeping on. And like giving it Birthing Pod, it just seems like it would make it, it's just too big a buff to one of the best decks in the format right now. You know what I mean? Okay, so I can't Dovin's Veto anything super relevant here, because really all they can have is Ice Fang, or I mean, I would usually say Basic Island means no Ice Fang, but we played against Team Erect yesterday, and it looks like they like maybe they copied my list, they copied a different list, but they just added Ice Fang and forgot to change the Snow Cover to Basics. But they could have Ice Fang here. Okay, so this is the like Spider Space style Creativity Reanimator deck. I've seen a few of these lists going around. I will say that I watched Doomwake play a version similar to this, and boy does the mana seem really, really rough in this deck. I think I'll just scour here. Yeah, the mana seems very shaky. I also think the card, I don't understand. I also have seen Strike It Rich in this deck. I guess it's kind of nice that it's like a flashback spell that you could loot away, but I don't really understand the Strike It Riches, because like this card is very weak in general. Strike It Rich is a really, really weak modern card, and you can't creativity targeting just the treasure because you have to sack the treasure, and it also isn't a land that ramps you for your Dwarven Mine. So I really just don't get it. I really just don't get why this list plays creativity. I think I did see a list like this, or sorry, not creativity, Strike It Rich. I think Strike It Rich sucks, and it like doesn't help your Dwarven Mine. You can't creativity the token. I just don't get it at all. I guess like turn 2 Teferi is kind of nice, but like Doesn't seem that nice to me. Right, I think I'll bolt them. So I would play like almost anything. I think like I would play four Prismatic Endings in the main deck. I think like probably just the 4 Thought Seas. Yeah, I just don't like the creativities at all. I'm not sure exactly what I'd recommend for the fuck spot. Maybe 1 Prismari command, but I just really don't like this one. I think the sideboard's pretty good. I honestly don't. I mean, obviously, like I want to add the prismatic endings to the main deck. Maybe I wouldn't play these Aether Gusts. Oh, don't Veil of Summer me. Man. Yeah, I guess Aether Gust is not a card I like that much in the metagame at the moment. Ooh, a little flooded this game, huh? Maybe play 4 Wear Tear. You might need something for the Tron matchup. You could play Terracodon, but it might just be better to play like Alpine Moon, Cleansing Wildfire. I guess you'd have 2 Alpine Moons, sorry. Maybe you can play more Flusterstorms for the Cascade matchups, but you're probably pretty good against Cascade decks. I think that this Ragavan's not connecting. We're probably dead. Oh, it connected. We need to hit a spell. Not that one. Yeah, we 5-0'd with the blue-red twin deck. It seemed, I am now under the impression that, like, twin is not a safe unban. I think if you have to unban it, it has to be super-duper safe, because, like, just imagine if you unban twin and it just is too dominant and you have to ban it again. It just, like, that might even kill modern. Or, you know, decimate it. Come on, another land? No! Ugh. Alright, let's go game 3. Yeah, I think on the play, I don't need the Prismatic Ending for Rin very badly. I'll just play the 3rd Bolt. Should play 1 Wear Tear for Reclamation. I'm gonna pass on that. Kind of a high mana curve hand, but I'll keep. Morning, Danta. I'm gonna pop the Bauble on my turn. I guess they're gonna crack this fetch, right? KRG, thank you for the 18 months. Yeah, me and Caleb agreed to do pod next. I don't know that there's another one I really want to do though. I think like most of the other like unbans would be kind of boring, to be honest. Okay, well we would have been rewarded for our iteration. Land, please. Maybe I should have said this. Jitte for Stoneblade. I honestly think Jitte for Stoneblade would be pretty boring. It's like, especially if we're testing it against a lot of metagame decks. I don't think it would be that impactful. But like, the good thing about Jitte Punishing Fire is those cards are really good against some decks, and they're like very mediocre against other decks. Hypergenesis? Like, we could test Hypergenesis. I have the theory that Hypergenesis is like that style of deck is worse than Glimpse of Tomorrow, and it's also like even if it's not worse than Glimpse of Tomorrow. I know my opponent has Veil, so like holding up Charm doesn't seem all that good to me. I think I'm just gonna jam a Teferi. They have Veil, yeah, they have Veil, Shark Typhoon, 2 mystery cards. So I don't want to minus into the Typhoon. Yeah, but it's my impression that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. It's my impression like Jitte and Punishing Fire are really good against specific decks, but like, you know, like testing a like when you play like Rhinos or like maybe blue-white control or you know, some like decks that just don't care about like these effects, like the gameplay is not that interesting, and I think that like both of those cards could come off the ban list. but I don't think that they should, because I think that both those cards make gameplay less interesting. So it's like, and there are a lot of cards like that I think gameplay just like almost never improves when these cards come off the ban list. So it just doesn't like make that much sense to like even really to want to unban it, you know. I feel like Hypergenesis is neat. Yeah, it like Hypergenesis is neat, but it's like Hypergenesis would probably be totally fine. But it's also like, you have Glimpse for Tomorrow combo, which is a very similar thing if you want to build it that way. You could also build Glimpse for Tomorrow combo to play a more fair mid-range deck. Or like a more fair mid-range deck, which I think makes it like a much stronger strategy. And it's like, I don't know that we need two of these things that basically fill the same design space in the format, you know. But yeah, I largely think Hypergenesis like doesn't end up usually being a very fun strategy. And I just like my personal philosophy when it comes to you know, the ban list conversation. It's like, if you're gonna unban something, like you can be way more conservative about unbanning something compared to banning something, where there's just like not much cost associated to just leaving something on the ban list. It doesn't really affect anything if you just leave it on, as opposed to like when you have a card that's really messing up the format. Like you have to be more proactive with your banning, because it's like, you know, obviously affecting things every day. What do you think about Right Elves? I think like Harmony, the Rights is like good in Elves. It might not be the best thing to play in that shell, and it also might be, you would just have to like ask your local Elves master maybe. I'm gonna counter this. My Counterspell just gets so much worse if I let this resolve, because we know they have Veil. Any thoughts about what they do in Nerf buffs to cards in Historic? Well, they're only doing it for the online-only cards, right? And I think that that's largely, that's largely good. It's, you know, there's probably, like, there's definitely some nuance there, but, I largely think that, like, it's probably better for Wizards to be able to errata cards, in theory, than not be able to, but, like, it doesn't work with the paper game. But if they do it with cards that only exist on Magic Online, or sorry, on Arena, then I think that's good. Because I think it's better to like rebalance cards than to like completely ban them outright. Kind of surprised they're not just like preemptively casting Veil of Summer. Okay, now they're cycling up. Yeah, Historic is also like a nonsense pile anyways, so like it's like totally fine for them to continue to get like weird and experimental in that format. Oh no, they drew another Bolt? Ah, they had to have drawn that off the Veil. Disaster. I think I just jammed this. I have 2 cards in hand. Probably doesn't resolve. Main phase, draw 2. 1 card left in hands. Uh-oh. Okay. Don't float mana. They didn't float mana. Awesome. Okay, so now I'll just play Ragavan with Counterspell up. Murktide plus Ragavan. No, I think we need to leave up the counter magic. Mr. Final Thoughts. I made like a small tweet about it, but I went into yesterday thinking that Twin would be a pretty safe unban. I left thinking that it would be a dangerous unban. I went like a pretty clean 5-0 with my blue-red version. And it also, like, the general gameplay did not seem like it would be, like, really improved by Twin. Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot to re-enable the channel point redemptions. Thank you for reminding me. I turned them off yesterday so I could just focus on the testing. Although I'm gonna... Yeah, we did stream the Twin matches. I played against Caleb D. Caleb built like a more controlling Jeskai version, and I built like a little bit more of like a standard blue-red version with Ragavan and Fire Ice and Archmage's Charm. And Caleb's version went 2 and 3. Mine went 5 and 0. Although I will say my draws were a lot better than Caleb's in general. I think I'll let this go. We have 2 more threats here. Fight there. Might be able to kill them next turn. Bolt, Murktide. That's going to be 9 power Murktide. Yeah, that's exactly lethal. Let's go for it. What's nice about this is, like, this wins through a counterspell if they don't counter a bolt. Oh, man, that match was so swingy. That match was so swingy. Jeez. But I also don't play a lot of Legacy these days. I'm a little out of my element. We're playing against Sauce, who's been playing a lot of 4-color control, so I'll keep this against 4-color control. Teferi here on top. I think I'm gonna just bubble myself now to have the chance of drawing a 1-mana cantrip here, rather than just getting max info. And we did get rewarded. Very rewarded. So I will graveyard this. Now we do have main deck Prismatic Endings to deal with the Chalice. And none in hand at the moment, or white mana. I just said this, JK. I don't know if you just tuned out for a second, but yeah, I don't think Twin is a safe unban. Okay, there's white mana. But yeah, as far as Modern, like, I think that Murktide is actually a very healthy card for Modern. That might be a hot take, but it's like the presence of Murktide Regent makes people have to diversify their removal, and like Murktide is a super beatable card. It really is, like, in my opinion, like a generally very fair card that has a lot of play against it and is not too strong. Okay, I was kind of hoping they'd counter there. I think I'll just go ahead and go to discard here. Oh, well, I do have to discard 2. But I know my opponent has Teferi, so I feel like I can't tap out for a Murktide. Yeah, I'll just discard 2/1 drops here. Would you say you need more cards like Murktide? I mean, we've reached a point because every blue deck should be playing Murktide. I mean, that's just, like, every blue deck playing Murktide is, like, super disingenuous, in my opinion. Like, there are a lot of good blue decks that don't play Murktide. Alright, I think we need to double Murktide this turn. Like, we're playing against, like, the most popular blue deck at the moment, and this deck doesn't play Murktide Regent. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's basically Deluge and Murktide. I don't think Deluge and Murktide occupy the same space at all. Or, like, it's not one or the other. It's like, it's that Deluge is good in control decks and Murktide is good in non-control decks. But it's also true, like, okay, this is not so bad for us. It's also true that should I kill Teferi and hold up Charm? I think I'm just gonna draw 2 with Charm. Maybe that's bad. But I really want to find, I want to find Prismatic Ending really badly. I'll kill the hero, I think. What was I saying? Yeah. Oh, they have Solitude. Okay, so I'll concede. Yeah, I don't think it's one or the other. It's like, Deluge is good at control decks, Murktide is good in this kind of shell, but there's also Death Shadow, which doesn't play either. There's also Rhinos, which sometimes plays like 1 Murktide, sometimes doesn't play any at all. There's Reanimator, which doesn't play either Deluge or Murktide. I've been doing well with Phoenix lately. I think that's kind of like a more narrow card, I guess, but yeah, like just saying it's like one or the other, I don't see that, at least when I'm thinking about the format. So on the play, I went less Prismatic Ending / Wear Tear. I think Wear Tear is a little bit better than Prismatic Ending in general. I think I'll play 1 over the 4th Bauble. Then I'll get more in on the draw, since like you just can't counterspell their Chalice on the draw. Julio, thank you for 2 months. Appreciate Jim. Anything not to say Tempo. We actually have Tempo in the title. I don't know. Yeah, the Grixis. Yeah. There's a couple different Grixis shells that don't play either of these cards. Oh, though, no, I think Yindrik Luris has been playing Deluge. It's a bit disingenuous for Grixis that show because it would 100% play Murktide if Luris is gone. It is. How is it disingenuous? Like, Luris is not gone, so it doesn't play Murktide Regent. Yeah, I don't understand that argument at all. Luris is not gone, so it's like. So it doesn't play Murktide, and it's not going to play Murktide as long as this card is legal. I guess we can draw that. Yeah, I think I'm into getting a Channeler into play here. No, I don't think you can play Esper Sentinel in this deck. As much as I do like Esper Sentinel. So I'm going to main phase Iteration here so I can get Delirium. Oops, all 1-drops. Oh no! Max punished for main phasing. Oh no. Max punished. Okay, I will cast the Scour to get a Surveil though. You're struggling with Murktide Elementals. Tips and advice? Well, if you're playing the 3 Terminates, I found both those matchups to be favorable with like my last list, but like the matchups are really nuanced and complicated too. It's like there is a lot of play to the matchups, and there's a lot to learn as time goes on, I guess. If you have like more specific questions, you could maybe ask, but it's kind of hard for me to give general advice in what are both very complicated matchups. But Terminate's your best card against Murktide, and Dress Down's your best card against Elementals usually. Yeah, let's not overcommit into a verdict here. Draw 2. We have 4 outs to Chalice, and we've had a lot of looks, but just haven't been lucky enough to find one. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess I'll just do exactly what I did last time. And I'm just not going to play around. We exiled a verdict with Ragavan, so like maybe Sauce has one more verdict in the deck. But just putting 2 8/8 guys into play seems like easily the best line here. How often would I say get stream sniped? Never happens. No, the 3rd verdict in 80 cards, by the way, of course, because we exiled one with this Monke. 80 cards, by the way. Jeez. Yeah, I've never been stream sniped before. That's a good one. Alright, the second island's in the graveyard here. Walker has been playing Place of the Verdicts. I mean, still, to have, you know, 3 verdicts in the top, like, 20 cards is pretty unlikely in the 80 card deck. Obviously, it's not, you know, whatever, right? Who cares? Yeah, Cling to Dust and Responsible Ballista makes the Ballista die. I think I'm just gonna fight over this. Yeah, but a play set of verdicts in Yorion, and especially the blue-white version, makes a ton of sense. Yeah, but this Yorion blue-white list has been very popular and very good lately. Alright, getting closer and closer to a concession. Do you think blue-white Yorion's better than Bant? Maybe. Maybe. I feel like its mana's a lot better. I'm gonna pack it in. You guys keep... I think you're supposed to keep this on the blind, on the draw. They didn't reveal a companion, so...
What's up?
You know, they're not like hammer time, but they're also not control usually right here. Sean, don't you like the stream? The Caleb stream was really good, I agree. Caleb's a super nice guy. I don't know, if Saucers doesn't have the third verdict, like we have two lethal 8/8s in play, has to have the third verdict in like the top 20 or something in the 80 card deck, is what it is. Mill over 2 monkeys, which actually stinks for us because our hands all burn spells. Head of my twin, yeah, my twin version 5-0'd Caleb. Caleb's draws are also like pretty bad, but just like I feel like the gameplay, I had a lot of fun. I feel like twin is probably not a safe unban. It's like a little too flexible when you build it. It's just a little bit too dangerous. At the time of making this comment, I'm not wanting the unban. What do you think about blending Reanimate with Miracles? Casting Otherworldly Gaze as your primary library manipulator. That also feeds your graveyard along with Consider as the usual suspects. I mean, sounds like it's doing way too much. Like where Miracles are very clunky, and the Reanimator deck can be kind of clunky. Like blending the two archetypes feels like a bit of a miss to me. Where like you need to, I think, enable consistency for one, or not play the deck. Can we maybe have a mod summarize my thoughts on the twin testing, because we're getting it like every like 2 minutes. We have 10 conclusion. Well, it didn't. Okay, that maybe it didn't pop up. Okay, thank you. So I don't have Delirium. Now I have Delirium. It's got 2 cards in hand. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The problem with casting my Murktide is I think I turn off Delirium for Unholy Heat if I max Murktide, and it's a great draw. And if I turn off Delirium, then I can't heat an opposing Murktide because they only have a couple of cards. But I'm probably just supposed to jam at this point. Instant. Second sorcery. So I can keep Delirium. I can keep Delirium here. But I think I'll just exile the other instance. Like this, like the one more instant makes this Murktide a 2-turn clock, you know. And then their Murktide's probably gonna be smaller than mine if they draw one. Please no Brazen Borrower. Thank you, Clothis. Ruler, 9 months. Thank you so much. I have no idea, dude. It sounds like it's on your end. Thank you for staying on top of the twin conclusion command. If you don't like to hear me repeat myself the whole stream, if you can help out with the commands, chatters, it's a good way to keep things going. 1, 2, 3. I think I'm just gonna take my draw step first. Do you want to put in the title? Yeah, that's probably for the best. It's cool how invested everybody is, though. Like, I'm glad that you guys had as good time as I did. Alright, so that's Delirium. I'm gonna bolt instead of heat here. Oh, if they counterspell this, I'll kill the channeler. The monkey is necessary for this deck, or do you think a budget version would do okay at a competitive event? I would say that monkey is pretty necessary, right? Like, if you have the choice between like another fully maximized deck in Modern, and you have a choice between this deck with no Ragavan, I would take the other deck every single time. All right, so up a game in the mirror, which is very good for us because like the white cards I think give us a big edge in the mirror. Well, I do think Ending is one of the worst cards, at least post board, where I think it's obviously not bad in the mirror match, but it's not as good as the red removal against their creatures. And like you saw that game, like you can definitely just have too many removal spells bonking down your hand. Pew pew, thank you for the 2 months. Yeah, Caleb and I agreed to do What If Pod were unbanned. I think that one's also very interesting. But I don't know that there's any other decks that I'm really that interested, or any other cards I'm really that interested in testing. We can actually maybe just look at just do a quick refresher of the Modern ban list. See if there's anything I'm not thinking of. I think Chromox would be like very too good. Deathred Shamans maybe a somewhat interesting option, but like I also think like Shaman's also like very. I'm gonna draw the canal and then he doesn't upkeep. Like Shaman's also like Banded Legacy. I just don't really see it being a good unban. Yeah, there's just very few of these I think would be really that interesting. Mox Opal maybe, probably. I mean, Mox Opal I think is also probably too good too. Now it's got a lot of recent updates. Yeah, I'm not really sure there's anything else to be honest. Aetherworks Bauble, that card is not banned in Modern, and it's not very good. Maybe one day it will be though. The power level on that card is pretty high. Summer Bloom. As far as Summer Bloom goes, like I once did a no ban list Modern event on the stream, and Amulet Titan with Summer Bloom, and I think Green Sun, maybe not even Green Sun Zenith. It might have, it's like that deck went undefeated in the Swiss of the unbanned tournament we had. So I'm not really of the opinion that that one's like safe at all. No Punishing Fire. Yeah, we talk like I think Punishing Fire, Jitte, like these cards are like, maybe could come off, but they're also like I think kind of boring to test. Like I don't actually feel like they would make for interesting gameplay where like they're good against very specific types of decks and they're, kind of medium against some others. Just not all that interesting. All right, so my Murktide is smaller than theirs. Big sad. But we could take 8 and then eat their their channeler is not delirious. I see. But we have Path to Exile their deck for their Murktides and Teferi, but they might not resolve. Could you run 2 Steam Vents and a Fire Islet in the deck? The deck's already playing 2 Steam Vents. I personally really dislike Fire Islet in the archetype. I know that most lists do play Fire Islet. But boy, does it feel like every time I play Fire Islet in these decks, it just like it deals me so much damage, and the games where it deals me a tons of damage, I think subtract less percentage points to this deck than like being able to sack it when you flood out adds percentage points. The Cloud Post, yeah, Lockhart. That's actually like, yeah, I agree. Cloud Post might just be like worse than Tron. They have another Murktide Regent. Okay, we're probably not beating that. Yeah, I'm playing 2 Demons, 2 Fountain, right? Now you're making me doubt myself. I'll look in a second. Hold on. You're dead. Oh, maybe we're not. Not quite dead. They do a bolt. Thank you, the Soul Avenger, 6 months. Glad you liked the stream. Yeah, title updates seem to be like a really good move. Let's go. I can play around Dash Ragavan by leaving this back. But I think I'll just try to kill him over the course of 2 turns. They have Thought Scour on top. Okay, now I have Installation against the Dash Ragavan. So their hand is Murktide, Thought Scour, 2 mystery cards. We lose to my opponent's Lightning Bolt. Play extra Monke as a blocker. Oh yeah, that was way better. That was way better. Were there any cool non-combo Splinter Twin plays? Yeah, we got a lot of like Splinter Twin on Wall of Omen, Splinter Twin on Snapcaster, Splinter Twin on Resto to flicker Exarch, untap the Resto infinite combo. How's Jeskai better than Blue Red? So obviously it's essentially the same deck where you're splashing white for a couple of cards, but Prismatic Ending makes you like so much stronger against all of the Chalice of the Voids in the format, where like that's like a big reason why the blue red deck is falling out of favor is the big presence of Chalice in the metagame. And like Prismatic Ending is a fantastic card that gives you like lots of main deck answers to Chalice. If your deck is soft to lock pieces like this deck is, like Phoenix is, there's a really good chance just like splashing for Prismatic Ending or playing Ending is going to help you with those problems. Especially if you're a deck like this that gets to play a lot of cantrips. Also worse for Blood Moon. That's true, yeah. That's true. Worse versus Blood Moon. But Blood Moon's not that common, I will also say. Oh, also better against Hammer Time too. A lot better against Hammer Time with the white cards, where like Hammer Time is usually pretty favored against Murktide, and I think like we're actually favored with this sideboard plan. I definitely want to keep that Archmage's Charm. Guess we're dead to land Hammer. They just put Luris in the hand. I think I'm supposed to heat the Midnight and get in with the Ragavan. Let's freaking go! Rice if we switch Prime. Could be dead to top deck Hammer though, so let's not celebrate too much. I guess main deck Thoughtseize is terrible in Hammer Time. Like, what if your opponent just hits it with Ragavan, right? Okay, I'd be very happy to trade Ragavan for Paladin. And they also don't want to make that trade. I always hit Midnight off Ragavan when I play this matchup. It just happens so often. Okay, let's just pass. I tried Heliod's Intervention and Jeskai Murktide. I feel like we could have better troll comments than that, right? You pick a funnier card. Rice Tackler, I don't know if I thanked you for your subscription, but thank you for your subscription. Surely we could pick a funnier card than Heliod's Intervention, right? Unless there's something I'm missing. I think this deck is the same 75 as the last time I've played it. I really have been liking it though. I think I've been really impressed by the 75. Change any cards to the Phoenix list. I've been really liking the main deck with that Phoenix deck. I played Phoenix on stream earlier this earlier this week, and I ended up going 4-1. I ended up feeling like I was liking the deck a lot too. I think I'll counter those. Someone use my mana. Right, up a game. Let's bring in the fourth ending, the wear tears, the paths. The Alpine Moon. And then I end up going usually down to 1 or 0 Ragavan. I usually trim Murktide, trim a Scour, trim a Bauble, trim a Counterspell or 2. Yeah, so yeah, I know that Dark Confidant and Bob in Hammer Time seems weird. It is weird. But the reason that they're playing it is like blue-white control is maybe the best deck in the format at the moment. The metagame is definitely shifting where control is not only really good, but it's really popular, and it has a really good Hammer Time matchup. So main decking Dark Confidants, like really improve that matchup. Blossoming Calm is just for burn. You know, your matchup against burn gets a lot worse when you splash like the white mana. So I think it's good to compensate a little bit with the Blossoming Calms. Will playing 2 Fluster over 2 Chalice be good, or is it worth buying 2 Chalice? The Chalices are a lot better than the Flusterstorms, in my opinion, where like it's kind of hard to hold up mana in those matchups. I've actually even cut the Flusterstorms from the sideboards, where like your matchup against Living In sucks as Phoenix, but I am playing Leyline of the Void in the sideboard over the Flusterstorms kind of, but like it's like the Flusterstorms I feel like didn't help the Living In matchup as much as I wanted, but Chalice is really good in Phoenix because you can cantrip into it and play it for 0 mana is why Chalice is so good. I think it's much better. Like the first 2 copies of Chalice are better than like any copies of Flusterstorm. Is it also why they run Thoughtseize for blue-white? It's a big part of the reason, but I actually don't. I don't think main deck Thoughtseize is very good in Hammer Time. I'm not a big fan, but I would say that that's a big part of it. I'm just gonna bolt the Thopter here. Thoughts of revisiting Assault to Bring to Light Luris. I've played it somewhat recently. Not like in the last few weeks I've played it, and I agree it's felt reasonable to me too. It's still a deck I like a lot. Taxing for 3 months. The Twin stream was yesterday, but it'll be up on YouTube. I messaged my editor about trying to get it out as soon as he can, but you know, we'll just see whenever that is. Might seem weird, but I think I'm actually going to exile this Esper Sentinel. Or if I exile the Sigardazade and they have a hammer in my hand, in their hand, we are in not good shape. And Sentinel is also a pain in the butt. What would have to happen for Snapcaster to become a premier card in Modern again? Snapcaster is a good card in Modern. Like, Blue Moon is one of the better control decks. It's maybe not the best, but it's very strong. I've been playing Snapcaster in a lot of decks and liking it. But like what the reason why like a lot of blue control decks aren't playing it, it's like Chalice and Spreading Seas are really well positioned, and that's not really an environment that that Snapcaster, like you don't want to play Snapcaster in those decks. But Snapcaster is a good modern card. And it just like won't be good in every control deck, and it won't be good in every metagame. But I think it's a really good thing that like the blue fair decks have so many different tools that kind of work poorly together, and so you have to pick a direction. It's like Murktide is also awkward with Snapcaster. It's you know, like this deck would love to play Snapcaster if it weren't for like the Murktide tension, I feel. All right, opponent. I'm sorry. It's nothing personal, kid. I can't fuse. I can't fuse. Okay, they knew I couldn't fuse. I forgot that fuse is only from the hand. Could you point us to a solid blue moon list? If you follow Jacob Kamunsky on Twitter, you can find a solid blue moon list. So I guess I should put that on my hand. Good lesson to learn. I think if you type !the pin sword in chat, it'll link to his Twitch at least. But Jacob's really good. Jacob's like a Blue Moon expert. Is, you know, third on the trophy leaderboard. Unfortunately, he's having some medical problems and is not grinding as much anymore. You could probably cut the second relic in the main deck for it. I feel like the main deck relics aren't as necessary. Yeah, Jacob does. Yeah, there's definitely some stinkers because he tries a lot of different things in the blue-red shell, but it's part of the fun, right? I guess I wouldn't counterspell removal spell on my Ragavan here because I have 2 more. Are people sleeping on Amulet Titan? Yes, people are sleeping on Amulet Titan. Yeah, people are sleeping on Amulet Titan. I think it's like Titan players are a really weird breed where they spend years mastering a deck, and as soon as it's not tier 1, they just never want to play it. But I think that Amulet is a totally playable deck. And like if you're a master of it, you're gonna probably have like a 55-60% win rate, which is not bad at all. Will I be playing more Resurgent Belief? Maybe. I do like the deck. I'll probably have to play some more off stream, and maybe I'll have some more ideas for it. I might just not sideboard here. Yeah, I might just have to play some more off stream and see if I can improve the list at all, or see how good the deck is feeling in general. Is Ragavan too good? I wouldn't say so. But it is kind of unfun on the receiving end. Yeah, the opponent can't complain. I accept my fate. So Thoughtseize as their Boomer John with Ragavan. No, I wanted that one. Foil Ragavan too. Oh boy, Raging Ravine. Yeah, don't tell anybody I told you this, but regular old John, no Luris. I've been watching Reed play it some. Deck seems reasonable. You didn't hear it from me though. You didn't hear it from me. But deck seems kind of reasonable. Horace, thank you with 5 months. Appreciate you. I think I have a specs command. Yeah. How much weight should be given to ban talk if a card's unfun? So I don't think that... Obviously there are some situations where like you might want to ban a card for play pattern considerations. But I think usually a card being unfun is not a really good reason to ban it. But it's also a really good reason to not unban something. So, like, I'm way more likely to advocate for a card staying banned if it's going to make play patterns worse, as opposed to unbanning something. Where there just isn't much cost associated with just leaving something on the ban list. But, like, if a card's, like, actively in the format, people have bought into it, it's, like, it's pretty different, I feel. So it's Jund Saga... without the Luris. Very interesting. I think I'll discard Consider. It's a bit greedy. I mean, yeah, there are some cards that are banned for play. I have to counter this. There are some cards that are like banned for play pattern considerations, like KCI, but also like KCI was a really, really good deck, and it was also like miserable to play against, but the deck was super competitive. I think I'm gonna iteration first in case I find Unholy Heats. I'm gonna play our two guys here. Any reason not to play EE sideboard? So you don't need E explosives against Hammer Time because you have access to Prismatic Ending and Wear Tear, which are better sideboard cards, I feel, in those matchups. And then you do lose some equity against Rhinos, but you also have a lot of sideboard cards for that matchup as well. What card did the ban from KCI? It was KCI. It was yeah, it was KCI. Second Liliana, and they're also not making a token here. It's pretty fine with me. A land would be kind of nice to go Murktide Charm. Okay, it's kind of nice. Yeah. Also, yeah. We've been talking a lot about like. I mean, I talked so much about bans on bans lately, but we've been talking about like the no banless modern tournament I hosted one time, and Top Miracles won that tournament in the hands of Musi. I didn't test KCI. I mean, I don't want to. Like, that deck is miserable to play on Magic Online. So many stupid clicks. Yeah, like, when KCI was a tier 1 deck in Modern, it didn't see much play on Magic Online because it was really miserable to play on Magic Online. It was just, like, the matches were so long. Oh, man. Alright, I have to kill the Liliana. I guess I'll play this too. Yeah. Titan Bloom was undefeated in the Swiss and then lost to Bloom in the finals. Or Miracles beat Bloom in the finals. But Titan was undefeated in the Swiss. Yes, people, we're going to do it again with Pod. We haven't set a date or anything. Oh, they drew a second trophy? Bummer. Yeah, we haven't set a date, but we're going to do it again. Alright, so I'll wait for the equip, maybe? Or maybe they'll cast a discard spell. No, Eldrazi is shocker. Yeah, people, I think, really overhype how good Eldrazi is in no ban list. It's kind of like the obvious deck, but I feel like a lot of decks beat up on Titan, to be honest, and no ban list Modern. Yeah, we have Ending in this deck, not Mending. No Gak. Gak didn't do very well at all in the tournament, surprisingly. Obviously, it was like a really small, like 60-something person tournament. It's not like this one thing is definitively forever the. Kind of think I'm gonna actually hand the bolt, exile the counterspell, bubble my opponent. They're drawing a swamp, so I probably need to save the bolt for the ravine. Let me see what I draw here. Oh, man. Okay, so yeah, now I think I have to bolt the Liliana, take 4 from the ravine, and then try to find Unholy Heat or Murktide off iteration. Too free for the bean, chat. A bit too free for the bean today, huh? Maybe I should have dashed Ragavan. Too much value. Yeah, Expressive Iteration is a pretty good card, huh? Oh, dude, so rewarded for not dashing the monkey. Let's go. Alright, so I get to see what my opponent's top card is and if I need to attack Liliana or not. Yeah, I don't think that does anything. Yeah, they can't cast Kolaghan's Command and activate Ravine. I'm sorry, opponent. I'm sorry, little one. Alright, pretty fast 4-1 with the deck. Did lose to Sauce on blue-white control, but this Jeskai deck has been killing it. I'm going to run it back, and then... I don't know how many leagues of Jeskai I'm going to play. I mostly wanted to play, like, you know, at least 2 to see if I'm still, like, as confident in this deck as I have been. But there is a PTQ tomorrow, and it is...